So what is the true shape of the Earth? I mean, for centuries, that question has sparked some pretty intense debate. But what if a clue to the precise answer was hidden in a single ancient word? Let's dig in.
You know, when we think about the whole debate, two main ideas usually pop into our heads. First, you've got the old school belief that the Earth is just a flat disk. And then there's the idea that most of us grew up with, that the Earth is a perfect sphere, kind of like a marble.
But here's the fascinating part. Turns out both of those ideas are wrong.
The Earth's actual shape is something scientists call a geoid or an oblate spheroid. Basically, because of the force from its rotation, it's a little bit squashed at the poles and it bulges out around the equator. So yeah, think less like a perfect marble and more like, well, a very specific shape that might have been described long before we could ever see it from space.
And this is where our whole investigation really takes a turn. What if this very specific, not quite spherical shape was described with incredible precision in an ancient text? The clue we're talking about comes from a single, very specific word. It's found in an ancient text, and our source material says it's the key to this entire puzzle. Okay, so the phrase comes from the Quran, in a chapter called Sirah an-Naziat. In English, it reads, "And after that he spread the earth." The key here is the original Arabic word that's used for spread the earth, and that word is Dahaha.
So, this is the crucial point. The entire interpretation we are about to explore hinges completely on unpacking the full, layered meaning of this one single word, Dahaha.
This brings us to what the source calls the Ostrich Egg code. We need to kind of peel back the linguistic layers of this word to see what it's really getting at. Okay, so let's follow the linguistic trail here. The verb that's used is Dahaha. In Arabic, words are typically built from a three-letter root, and in this case, it's D-phythology H. Now that same root also gives rise to another noun, udhiya, and udhiya specifically means an ostrich's egg or the place where an ostrich lays its egg. This linguistic connection is what creates a potential double meaning. It might allow one word to describe our planet from two very different perspectives at the exact same time.
Think about it like this. From the perspective of someone standing on the ground, the Earth seems huge and spread out, and that's the common meaning of Daha. But from the perspective of space, the source argues that the root word points to its true geometry. It's shaped like its linguistic relative, an ostrich egg.
So let's just break this down. A perfect sphere is, a geometrically round ball, but an ostrich egg is an oblate spheroid, and the Earth, our geoid, is also an oblate spheroid. Geometrically speaking, the shapes are analogous. Of course, not everyone agrees with this interpretation. So, in the spirit of a full explanation, we have to explore the counterargument.
A skeptical reading would say, hey, this is a modern stretch. People are just trying to fit science into an old text. They'd argue that Dahaha simply means to spread out or to flatten, and that the author was probably just describing a flat, carpet-like world. This whole egg connection, they'd say, is just wishful thinking.
And that's the critical question, isn't it? Is this linguistic connection to the egg shape just a coincidence, or is there actually something more to it?
Well, the source material has a rebuttal. It argues that while the skeptic sees a simple, surface-level meaning, in Arabic linguistics, a word carries the DNA of its root, and the root dhy is fundamentally and historically tied to the ostrich and its egg. You can't just separate that meaning from the verb. So this brings us to the final analysis. Was the choice of this specific word just a coincidence, or was it a deliberate, precise act?
The core of the argument really comes down to precision and choice. If the author wanted to convey a different shape, the Arabic language had other, much more direct words just sitting there, ready to be used.
For example, if the intention was to describe the Earth as flat, like a roof or a carpet, the word sataha would have been perfect. If the intention was a perfect sphere or a ball, the word kura exists for that. The fact that Dahaha was chosen is argued to be a very deliberate and incredibly precise choice.
So let's just quickly break down what the source claims this ancient text is truly describing.
It's not a flat plate. The word sataha was not used.
And it's not a perfect ball. The word kura was not used.
It's an egg. The claim is that the word that was chosen, Dahaha, with its deep linguistic roots, perfectly describes the geoid shape that we now know to be true.
And all that leaves us with a final, fascinating question to think about.
Is this just a remarkable linguistic coincidence? A clever, modern interpretation trying to make an old text fit? Or could it be a precise, scientific clue that's been hiding in plain sight for centuries? That's something for you to ponder.